Hello and thank you for watching another one of my videos. I'm going to go over 10 things that I found crucial as a part of gameplay in Vanilla WoW. So let's get this ball rolling. 1. Environment. The environment in Classic WoW was extremely immersive. It would rain at random times no matter where you were in the world of Azeroth. It would snow. Day and night were extremely distinct. You would know when it was nighttime because of how much darker the game was. I can only assume that at some point, people who were playing complained about being unable to see enemies, and that's why Blizzard removed this. If anybody knows a reason, I would love to know because it bothers me a little on a personal level as to why they would remove this. In Live, the game has designated areas for weather, and it feels fake. Because of the RNG of the weather during Vanilla, the game felt far more immersive. 2. Dungeons. In Classic WoW, there was no such thing as a group finder tool. What we had back in the day was looking for group channel. In LFG, we would say to our local server players that we were trying to get a group together for a dungeon and continue leveling while talking to people. They would whisper us and ask what roles we needed. These functions were eliminated on Live. On Live servers, Dungeon Finder does 3 things that remove a social aspect of the game. 1. You don't need to ask people what spec they are. Small talk. 2. You don't need to run around towns looking for people to join your group. More small talk. 3. People aren't excited to do dungeons in order to grind for a specific item to assist with the leveling process. Larger talk. 3. Items. Stats were what determined whether an item was good or not. In raiding on different occasions, depending on the raid, players would even wear gear for a level 40 while at max level, because the bonus effect it gave was large enough to give a damn. On the contrary, in Modern WoW, stats still matter. However, item level dictates for you to say whether the numbers are higher, and there are very obvious specific stats that attribute to your class. We have probably half as many stats as we used to. 4. Leveling. During the leveling process, communication was vital. If you didn't communicate, you didn't do dungeons, you died far more often, you didn't complete group quests, and the game was far less fun. This silent system encouraged players to speak to others, whether it was just bullshitting or to actually do something productive with their characters. The time and level, or time and level range, produced a large playing field with the population on your server to do junk together and have a good time while leveling. Whether you were trying to find more quests to do, see if you could kill an elite, grinding spiders in Duskwood for 12 hours straight, or doing dungeons, you were always doing something with another individual in your local community. In other words, your server. 5. In combat phase. During combat in Classic, there were 3 primary things you needed to focus on. These were cooldowns, cast times, and cast cost. No matter what class you played, you had cooldowns of 5 to 10 minutes and needed to determine when it the right time for me to use the spell. As a caster, or healer mainly, it might be a better decision to run a lower rank heal spell for the sake of mana conservation while focusing on controlling yourself before overhealing, or for the focus of a faster cast time. Micromanaging was far more important and mistakes were far less forgiven. On Live, you have plenty of forgiveness. The spells proc, you have a few medium-sized cooldowns, and mana is not an issue as any class that does have a mana problem also has a mechanic that solves it during combat. Mechanics such as Life Tap, which did exist in Vanilla but was a dangerous spell to use as you didn't want to hurt your healer's mana and didn't want to kill yourself. I personally play a lock on Live and never have to worry about mana while doing a ridiculous amount of DPS. 6. Resource management. Gold is a struggle. Mounts cost as much gold as you have most of the time. Potions grant buffs that are vital to gameplay. Food also grants buffs that are vital to gameplay. Life hasn't changed that much from what it seems. However, the difference here is primary buffs were focused on resistances, dedicated towards raids, and these buffs were extremely useful to keep yourself from dying while leveling. In Classic, fear is a powerful mechanic that encourages players to be better at the game. 7. Out of combat phase. Waiting for cooldowns to be up, getting your mana up, getting health up, getting buffs from potions and food. This was a phase that happened almost every fight. Live hardly even has this phase anymore unless you are raiding, in which trash really is just trash. 8. Raid preparation. I will leave a link to a raid guide example for Molten Core and AQ in the description. Needless to say, there was a lot of preparation for resistances. Most guilds wouldn't accept you without tier 0, and a lot of game knowledge was needed. Little to no room for error, and the entire group needed good communication. If you weren't in a guild, it probably wasn't happening. 9. Talent trees. Talent trees were far more diverse. You could customize your class to how you played. The argument is that there was always one best way to spec your class, but this is false claim for a couple of reasons. 1. Every class had a different form. For example, a prot warrior could go through the arms tree for crit to hold threat, or go through the prot tree for survivability, depending on what is needed at the time. 2. Depending on the trinkets the player was using, their playstyle could change. As for some people, trinkets in vanilla were a saving grace. And 3. The types of potions and gameplay in either PvE or PvP was extremely segregated. To this day, people still make different trees for their class on private servers. Live has a very simple talent tree system, and Icy Veins will tell you through their tests what the best route is nowadays. 10. Individuality. Classes had an identity. During raids, you would need specific class types in order to accomplish your goal. Gear as an appearance was something that you earned through blood, sweat, and tears. If you saw somebody in Molten Core gear, you know that person ran through Molten Core multiple times. As a low-level person who is just getting into WoW, I remember being level 20 and just looking at these people in awe, just thinking to myself about how impressive it was. These are just 10 of the things that I find important to vanilla WoW. There are far more systems that are just not as important in live, such as world PvP, class trainers, dual specking, battlegrounds, individual dungeons, Ubers, grinds, and far more. I'm not saying that live is a bad game. Obviously, I still play it. What I am saying is that it is a different game, and these are many of the systems that made vanilla feel more social. The way I see it, developers are making WoW today as a game focused on the game, and developers on Classic made the game as a game focused on playing with others around the world. To me, live doesn't feel like an MMO, it feels far closer to a single-player game. Anyways, thank you for watching, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe if you want to see more content.